Ladies and gentlemen, as always, an absolute delight, an absolute pleasure to have the Grand Fromage, Russ Anber, back the
The
boss. Look at him.
boss.
Just in case you might have forgotten.
Just in case,
Never,
no one can forget. How's it? I mean, first of all, as we just said, happy birthday. 1 year older.
1 year fatter.
Yeah. Wiser.
I believe
Wiser.
One of the most shocking KOs of like the last 5 years happened on Saturday night in Montreal on the card you were working, didn't it? Was that?
Yeah. That's right.
Christian.
Yeah. That was
what
pretty
was
bad.
that?
Wow, that was. I saw that. I had the fight right after that, so I was in the dressing room. So we were only watching it on TV. So I had the fight right after it, and yeah, it was scary. But Mbilli's a hell of a fighter, man. I mean, he's an action guy. I was talking to Anson Wainwright after the fight. He was doing an interview with Christian, and I said this to Christian years ago when he first came to Montreal, and I was watching him fight. And the way he was built, he's built like Emil Griffith. You know, he's got wide shoulders and a tiny little waist, right? He's really built like that. And I said, man, they should do your fights in black and white because, you know, you're a throwback fighter to another era in the 50s and 60s. I mean, that's the way you fight. And he does. So Anson asked if he could use that quote in a story he's doing. And I told him, of course he could. But yeah, and Billy's somebody to watch.
Like Rob was saying, I think he could save some money on these productions, on the stunts. Don't need to hook people up to wires. He can just crack them and send them flying.
I mean, like I described it as like Jesus came to him and said, "We need to walk and talk. So the meat suit is gonna be left here, mate, and you're gonna come with me to the astral realm. We're gonna have a chat." And then he returned him because that was like someone unplugged his character. That was a wild KO. Like, I'm gonna put it in the video, like amongst our heads.
Yeah,
he gets hit, and then he just kind of
power
zombies,
off.
and then out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was after the fact. You say, why didn't the referee reach out for him when he saw him going like that? You know, but it happened so quickly.
So quick.
Right? And the way he went down, like with a thud, those are scary. They're scary knockouts, and you know, that's the part of boxing that's always the thing I hate the most, and always the most dangerous of in the sport of when you see something like that happen. You don't like to see it, even when you're on the receiving end of it. And there are some guys who deserve that to happen to them, and it doesn't happen to them, you know. But there are some guys who deserve that, but Mohamed, he's not one of them. You know, he was a gentleman all the way through, and but it's boxing. What are you going to do? At the end of the day, that is the quintessential argument for the anti-combat sport boxing people. You know, that's it. Like we're in the 21st century, 2022, and we're poleaxing guys, knocking them dead. You know, you don't want to see that happen to fighters, but you know, it happens, sadly.
That's why it adds that touch of class when even amongst the excitement, the fighters compose themselves, tell the crowd to calm down until they get to their feet. That's a really nice post-brutal KO thing, I think. You know, it's the best way you can rescue it, rather than be like, fuck yeah, standing over the body. It's like, you know, at least the camera can focus on them going calm, you know.
Okay, well, then I'll give you the analogy, which I may have said to you before. You know, it's the same kind of analogy where, you know, a racehorse, you know, breaks its leg. You shoot the horse. Doesn't fix the leg. You know? It doesn't
it's just
fix
easier.
The leg.
It's just easier, mate. Like horses.
The camera's not on the gunshot, so
yeah. So it's still sad when you see that to happen, because you want to win. You're doing everything you can to win. You hope you can get the win. Even the knockout win that you do get, you're hoping it's not via something brutal but it's the sport. At the end of the day, you can't separate that. So I think that's also a sign of, I mean, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes happens to guys that are, you know, stick around for one too many, you know, one fight too long, you know, their resistance isn't what it used to be, you know, and listen, it's not nice. Even us people in the business don't like it, but and it's painful for the people, for the fighter that it happens to his team, to his family who have to see that. You know, it's not good. It's a sad part of boxing, but you've been on the giving end as well. You know, you've knocked out guys as well.
You hope so.
Yeah, you hope so. You hope so.
Yeah.
You remind me, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to send it to you, Russ. In a Muay Thai fight, when you said the referee should, there's one.
I've seen it. That's why I said it. The guy reached out for his head and called him. Great.
How good is that?
Great. Yeah, I seen. That's why I said it. That's why I said that. Yeah. I wouldn't have said that without seeing it. It doesn't really happen all that often. But yeah, that guy did a great. He dove and went to the floor with him and cushioned.
The man's a hero. He was ready. Right? He's ready to steal the scene, wasn't he?
He needs a post-fight bonus as well.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. That's why I said that's a good point. Good point.
I think, Russ, it's a good time then to get into the meat of what we're here to discuss today. So we've done this a few times. We're going to do a debrief from the corner. Ian and I had a board meeting yesterday, and we've decided that we're not going to call on the bet because the fight was so good. You didn't lose. We all we all won. Hey,
well,
we all won.
You guys were expecting a far easier win and in almost perhaps a dominating performance. So
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I tell you what, I was you okay. So verbatim for you, knockout, you said we would be shocked. I said 9.
That's middle rounds. That's middle rounds.
I said points. Yeah, he said points.
But round 9 is part of 7, 8, 9, right? That's the middle round. I
suppose.
Okay? 10, 11, 12 is the late rounds. Okay, so you middle round knockout, which is pretty dominant. You know, you soften the guy up a little, knock him out. You know, you're head on points when you do so. So you were. I said
points, and to be fair, I still would have been wrong if it had gone to the final bell.
Well, look, actually, you said we were going to be shocked.
Well. Yeah,
you wouldn't have been, you know, because of that horrific call by the referee. You know, that changed everything around. Had the referee made the call he's supposed to make in round 11, like everybody in the entire building saw, you know, you wouldn't have had Conlan would have been ahead by 4 points going into the last round. Instead, you know, he's ahead by 1 or behind. Yeah, ahead by 1, which means if he
head by 1 and on 2 cards and then 2 on 1 card, I think it was. He was ahead though. Not to be confrontational, not to be cantankerous even.
Oh, that's a big word.
Mans has been on medicine. I did think it was a knockdown. I thought there was a shot before it that hurt Conlan, and I think he copped a forearm, and I think there was impact to cause it. Okay. I'm going to, hey, there's no wrong opinions.
And well, there are. Just because you call it an opinion doesn't mean you can do the license to say you can't be wrong. No, you're wrong. You know, I mean, it was clear to everybody. I mean, you don't get that kind of reaction, the foot going out from under you. And this is why I want to dispel the theory that, you know, there's a flaw in our system. When I say the scoring system, the refereeing system, how we score knockdowns, there is nobody who could turn around and say that punch caused the knockdown. But all you new wave guys, you think, oh, if the guy's little pinky touches him on the ear just as he's slipping, oh, you touched him, it's a knockdown, and that's a 10-8 round. That's ludicrous. Like, that's just pure insanity. So you scored the 11th round on a slip, which everyone in the building saw was a slip. You scored that even worse than you scored the first round, because the first round, Conlan was probably even winning the first round when he scored the knockdown and won the round 10-8.
Yeah.
In the 11th round, Conlan was winning the round on his way to a 10-9 round. You call a stupid mistake, like that was just a bad, horrific call that everyone saw was wrong. Commentators said it. There was no way that was an argument. Oh, but he touched him. And even the ref said, oh, yeah, but he was touched when he went down. I don't care. He was already going down. Whether he was going to get touched or not, he was going down. So the question you have to ask yourself, did that punch knock him down? No, it did not, because he was already headed there anyways. And now you go a complete 3-point swing from a 10-9 round to Conlan to a 10-8 round for for Lee Wood, and that's wrong. Like there's no, I'll go to my grave telling you that that's wrong. You know, that was just insane.
First of all, I wasn't in the building. I was at home, and I still think it was a knockdown. I'm not doing it. I thought it was. As fights go, I don't know if it's because we know Lee and yourself and stuff like that. I can't tell you off the top of my head a better, more enjoyable fight to watch. Like I was so into that. That was hyped. Yeah, it was just a great fight. It's
going to be fight of the year.
Yeah,
Nottingham
it has to be.
To have a way of doing that, you know. See, I don't know what it is about Nottingham, but you know, I was there with Pascal when he fought Froch, and that turned out to be the British fight of the year as well. So
that was a good fight, and Froch was very, very lucky that night. Like very lucky that was here. It was, it is what it is. So run me through what you were seeing from your professional point. So their immense knockdown round one, and from a fan's perspective, it probably took Lee 4 rounds to really get any sort of legs under him. He was eating big shots, and it did look like it was going to be an early night for Conlan, which yeah, go on.
I thought like when you heard him again in the second, you know, with the next good punch he landed, because the first round he couldn't land the punch after it because it was the end of the round. Second started, first good shot he lands again, bang, that hurts him again. I thought we're going to be out of here. We're going to get this early, you know. And I thought, wow, this is even better than I could have ever expected, you know. But Lee's a tough kid. I mean, he was tough, but Conlan was in control. He was confident. I told you guys before the fight that he was confident, and that he believed in himself and what he could do. And you know, for 10 rounds, you know, I was thinking about marking this up to a highlight moment of my life and my career, and you know, what a great moment to be involved in. And I'm still like, you have to remember at that point, I'm focusing on the fight. I'm not taking in the atmosphere and the way you guys are watching it. I'm just focusing on the fight. But, you know, when, you know, for 10 rounds, it was on the way to being one of the best nights of my life. And, you know, unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. And like we said, you know, knockouts happen in boxing, unfortunately, and you're on the receiving end of it. And that was turned out from going to being one of the best nights of my life to the worst night of my life.
That was scary. That was.
And I didn't even see what happened. Like from where I was sitting, I couldn't see what happened. All of a sudden, Mick disappears, right? And then I see the referee frantically waving his arms. Adam jumped up, Charlie jumped up, Huzaifa jumped up. Boom! They all go into the ring. I go along the apron, and there he is on the floor at the bottom. Which, you know, not only was
someone caught him, right?
I'm sorry.
Someone, I think Jamie, is it his brother? Like, was able to get a hand to him or something.
Somebody, and there was also a security guy there who may have helped slow down the fall. But that's what I was about to say. Like, it's criminal. It's absolutely neglect that there is not tables on all 4 sides of the ring to prevent something like that from happening. You know, like there is no way that a fight, first of all, the fact that the ropes were so loose that they couldn't even support a featherweight weight on it, you know, which is what they're supposed to do. And rope spacers are supposed to prevent the ropes from opening up. They're supposed to be tight to prevent the ropes from opening up. It's supposed to be difficult as a trainer, whatever. It's supposed to be a little bit difficult to go through the ropes because you can't get them open like you want to. Okay, that's how tight they're supposed to be. And the fact that they weren't, and the fact that there was a 4-foot free fall onto a cement floor, which in a boxing ring, there is no other way you can leave the ring but head first.
Yeah.
You don't accidentally go out foot first. You know, that doesn't happen. If you're going out of the ring, you're going out of the ring head first. And it makes no sense that it's 2 banquet tables. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, 2 banquet tables along the sides, and on one side of the judge, on the other side of the judge, and your fighter goes out, he lands on the table. You know,
what's a mats? Jesus.
you could put a mat there, you know, but at least something to prevent a free fall from 4 foot in the air. And it's, you know, we've seen guys fall where they land on the press table where the TV is, you know, at least there's something there. They don't go all the way down. Now, this is the second time this has happened that I've seen this happen in my career, and I was there for both, was when Bernard Hopkins went out of the ring against Joe Smith.
Yeah.
Same situation. The ropes didn't hold him up. And if you watch that, there's a photographer who's right there. He gets out of the way to let Hopkins free fall all the way to the floor. You know what I mean?
He wants his shot, you know?
You can't touch the fighter, you know? And there's always like these guys, you know, the referee's instructions are, a fighter goes out of the ring, you can't touch him, you know? Like, so there's this stereotype of like this stigma, I should say, of, oh, let the guy, you know, fall, right?
It's still
like,
a falling human.
Yeah.
Correct. You know, so, and I'll tell you something else. Had Mick fallen 12 inches to his left, he would have landed on the edge of the steel stairs that were there, you know, which that couldn't have been much better either. So that kind of stuff should not still be happening in this day and age, you know, but it was not a nice night, man. That was, and it's still something that's, you know, stays with you for a while and stayed with me, and it'll like to be part of that. But I was only able later to have seen the shot of how it landed. And it's one of those shots that landed on the wrong side of your face kind of thing. You know, it wasn't like it came where the head couldn't absorb anything. You know, it couldn't move with it. It was on the wrong side of this hand, not the other hand. So it went right through, and that was a debilitating shot when you get hit on the wrong side of the face with the other hand. Your body can't absorb it as well. So not nice.
After the knockdown, Adam, you know, spent a good 20 seconds screaming at the ref, which I assume you.
So did I. Yeah.
So in that fight, I think Ian and I both counted maybe 4 times a voice that we recognise saying, "Stay off the fucking ropes" on the way out of the, you know, Adam's out, you know, you were walking out, and that was a thing that was like noticeable. Stay off the fucking ropes. Now, that's one of a few statements that I've seen on a few interviews on Boxing Social and stuff like that. That you haven't been blamed, but it has been mentioned, you know, that Russ was, you know, saying going late, keep it going, you know, you have to start fucking going for this, like you need to keep going. Like the stuff that you were saying, to be fair, it sounded pretty logical for a non-home fighter up with the champion making his first defense as a home fighter. It makes sense, right? You would never leave it in the hands of the judges if you can.
I mean, look at De La Hoya when you feel like you're ahead and you take your foot off the gas. It don't go great. So
okay.
So
I mean, I don't think I said anything that was wrong. I don't think
exactly
that was wrong.
So I mean, but why? I found it strange for example, Dave Caldwell to mention that and you. Why would you think?
What did Dave Caldwell say? I don't even know.
Literally that, like, you know, when it's quite clear that you're up, it was words to the effect of like, why was Russ like egging him on? But it was provoked by the Boxing Social guy to push it, and he was like, yeah, I did think it was a bit odd and all this other stuff. So that's what I was quite interested, because it just felt weird.
I'm not sure the question where you're going. This is the first time I'm hearing that Dave Caldwell said something. So I don't know what it is that he said or in what context he said it. But I think what I said at the end of the day, if you look at what the scores were going into the last round, we needed the last round. You know, we needed it. If we don't get the last round, the fight ends in a draw, and he's still not champion. So I mean, the fight was close enough. You always try to give your fighter the boost that he needs, you know, to go. And I don't think I spoke over Adam. I try not to over him. Staying off the ropes, you know, that I think that was a pretty good call to make, logical call to make, because you could see that any time Wood, as he was working his way back into the fight, the success he was having in working it back and getting the crowd back into him is when he had Conlan pinned on the ropes. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that he was not that he was inflicting any major damage, but you get enough kicks at the can, something's going to land. One little, which happened in the 12th. That was just, he weaved and walked into it. It wasn't even planned like that. He was trying to hit him with that shot. He just kind of bent into it, and eventually you can't make them miss all. Even Wilfredo Benitez got caught by guys eventually when he's on the ropes. So I don't think that I made a wrong call, and you don't want to say to the guy, okay, you've got this, don't worry, just hang in there, especially after the call that was made in the 11th by Steve Gray. And I know that the judges, who are perhaps unable to think for themselves, can turn around and say, well, that punch was worth 3 points, because that's what in essence, that's what they do, and that's wrong. Like, I don't know how many times I have to keep saying it, but, is it because you can't learn? Is it because you don't understand? Is it because someone can't explain this properly to you? But there's a quality you have to give to the punch. The punch that knocked Lee Wood down, in the first round was worth the extra point. That's what you get the extra point for, because that was a hell of a shot that negated everything that happened before. Boom. And he dropped. That was a knockdown. You can't tell me that same punch in the 11th round not only equates, but was greater value than what the first round was. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Any way you look at it, it's just wrong. It's
so do you think that do you think that the rules have to be changed, or there needs to be a better mastery of it?
I think certainly there has to be a better mastery of it. The judges themselves should say, hey, Conlan's winning that round. Conlan, at best, if you are going to give the knockdown because he touched him while he was falling, then at best it should have been a 2 points for make it a 10-10 round, or 10-9 for Lee Wood. It doesn't make sense that you do a 3-point swing, because you weren't winning the round.
Yeah.
If the knockdown didn't happen, you were going to score 10-9 Conlan. So really, people forget about this. A knockdown isn't worth 2 points. It's worth an extra point.
Good point. Yeah. You have to win the round and get the knockdown.
That's right. So when people don't know, it's worth 2. Now it's worth 3.
Yeah.
3. That's not it. That's not the way the rule is written. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And I'll go to my grave thinking that, that's just wrong. You can't just turn around and take it that a punch is worth 2 points. It's worth the round plus the knockdown, and in this case, plus the round you were losing. There's no way.
I'm not saying it's the case in this, but I really like that Paulie, his comment when he said it's either incompetence or it's corruption, and I don't believe anyone's this incompetent. And sometimes that's the other thing with boxing, where it's like there does need to be sweeping reforms across the board.
It's just not fair. Maybe we've just reached a time in boxing where the system doesn't work anymore. Having 3 people and the referee, basically, so 4 people have the fate and destiny of millions of dollars in their hand, potentially millions of dollars in their hand, at their hands alone. And at the end of the day, they can turn around and call themselves professional judges. You're just a guy who's paid to
done a course to
score the fight. But done a course of what? I mean, like, you're no worse than them. You watch who do you think won the round? There's no special expertise. There's nothing special that they do except watch. So that's why it's always bothered me when we said, when there are judges who are nominated for the Hall of Fame. Like, what?
Yeah, there's you got no place. Yeah,
professional watcher.
Yeah, no, mate.
That's right.
I belong there too. You know,
believe me, there would be no difference. You would be, and you could do it, and you would get rounds wrong. You'd score it for the wrong guy because from your perspective, you don't see it that way, and you're so close, and you're looking up, and it's a horrific viewing position. You know, it's terrible viewing position. But and because TV is so much nicer because of all different camera angles. When you can't see something here, they switch to there. You know,
why do they not have monitors?
Way better.
You know, just give them monitors. It's so easy.
Monitors, more
they brought in this third judge that they never used, and when they did use it, they fucked it up. Remember,
right? The Aussie boy,
fight.
yeah, Maloney. Like they like Top Rank had like a 3D MRI X-ray of no contact happening, and the commission were like, "Oh, we can't see this footage." Yeah,
horrific call.
And they were looking at it for like 20 minutes.
I know,
it was,
and they still messed it up.
Yeah,
and still messed it up. So. You know, that's why I say there has to be a better way of doing this. There has to be more people involved. I mean, we could even do it. You know, I might be exaggerating, but you can have a group of people in the press who score the fight. You can have a group of people in the fans who score the fight. You can have different trainers and fighters that are there scoring the fight. You know, you have a consensus of there's something wrong here if these three guys went the other way. You know, Julie Letterman giving Teofimo Lopez 10 out of 12 rounds against Lomachenko. That's criminal, you know. Like,
but he won 13
accountability
in Cambosis, didn't he?
Theo,
like he got his karma back because what did he say he won? He won like 13 of the rounds. This fight was 12-1 or something. He said in the Cambosis fight. So you know, bless.
But there's also no accountability. They do these bullshit investigations after when nothing happens. At most, they get like, okay, the next show they're not on, then they're straight back to work.
That bothered me a little bit with the British Boxing Board of Control, where they demoted, for lack of, I'm not sure if that's the right word.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Well, I'm not sure what it means, but if you're demoting somebody, it's because you disagree with what they did, that they did something wrong, because you can't demote somebody for not
doing a good job. Yeah.
Right. So you're demoting him for doing something wrong. Well, if you did something wrong, then that changes the score of the fight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that change the score of the fight? So I don't know.
Facts.
I don't understand this, but clearly there has to be. I heard Robin Smith, you know, in an interview, and he said, if you guys come up with a better solution, let me know. And he's right. I think collectively boxing needs to come up with a better solution. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw where Ben Shalom said he wanted to present ideas to make scoring better. And I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's something that has to be done because I think we've reached the point where, you know, three people are controlling the destiny of a fighter and what he could make in the future and how much money he could make. And it's not.
I would like to interrupt there. So I think the three people thing I'm going to anyway, you know what I mean? I don't think it's the three people. I think that the second that, as a fan, as any sort of fan, the second that you see the name Adelaide Bird, and you know that Adelaide's had a couple, because she's just a prime example. You know that Adelaide's had a couple of wonky decisions already, and you already know that anyone that is on the Mayweather-esque negative counter-punchery can do literally nothing the whole round. She's always favouring that kind of fighter. I think that there needs to be maybe a little bit more randomness. I understand the experience point, but there's got to be a way to do this, because I don't think I should know the names of the judges and know what they kind of score.
Also, too, on high level,
you can play to it.
Like, sure, they're not super experienced, but on big cards, there's still the ref judging. What the fuck?
Yeah,
like
that's only in the UK.
Yeah, okay, but it happens a lot here.
Yeah, I don't understand how you're able to judge and referee at the same time. How you can be involved in doing that, but that's only in the UK. But then again, it's only in the UK where you're subject to a 9 count and not a 10 count. So that's only in the UK as well. So I don't know why that is, but you know, it's. I don't think we have to get over this, and it's everywhere in the world. Every time a guy loses when he's not at home, it's blamed on a hometown decision. You know, and we have to get away from that. It's not. It's not right that that's happening. And a case in point was the John Ryder, Danny Jacobs fight, in which everyone screamed blue murder, that they gave, the Brits gave the fight to John Ryder, and Danny Jacobs won the fight. The British judge was following the script. He voted for Danny Jacobs because he's the DAZN guy. He's the Eddie guy. He followed the script. It was the other two guys that gave the fight to John Ryder, So I think we have to be a way of negating what could be preconceived bias. Scorecards.
Yeah.
And bias. Yeah. And we saw this weekend. I don't know if you guys watched the Edgar Berlanga, Steve Rolls fight last weekend.
Yeah.
Now, Rolls wins the first round. There's no doubt. You watch that fight, there is no way Rolls does not win the first round. Not in any dominating type fashion, but simply because Berlanga was just kind of waiting, biding his time. Rolls landed a few shots which landed clean scoring blows. And the other one didn't. Now, they weren't damaging or anything, but you want to give it a round to somebody. Rolls wins that round. All three judges gave it to Berlanga because that was just the way to go. Okay, the hometown guy went first round, 10-9, 10-9. You have to do so much more. You have to murder a guy to get the round because they have the preconceived notion of who is supposed to win. And unless you show me differently. So instead of watching the fight from a neutral perspective, saying, okay, who landed, who was the aggressor, who pressed the action, those things, you're saying, this is the favorite, show me you won the round. So now if you don't, you're watching and saying, this guy's winning. The fight hasn't started, this guy's ahead. And until you show me that you're winning the round, this guy's getting it. And that's wrong. That's wrong.
But that's just bias. That's just hometown bias. It's going to be, don't have judges from your hometown. That seems a pretty easy fix, doesn't it? If you're from Manchester, you can't judge fights in Manchester. I don't know.
It could be, but the boxing world is so small. And at the end of the day, even when you bring in neutral judges, the promoters are paying for their flights, their accommodations, they're taking care of them. These judges often make 1, 2, 3, and numerous visits to a certain country.
If they stay in the good books.
And become friendly with the locals. So it's such a small world. That's why I say you have to just have more people involved in doing this to make it fair and to negate some of the bad things that you see. And I think, something like in the Conlan fight, there should have been somebody, if 20 people who are part of the scoring system, 18 of them say, that's no knockdown. You negate the referee's call because the referee could make a mistake, which is fine, but you have someone who can negate that and let the judges know you can't give an extra point for that. That was not a knockdown, but unfortunately we don't have something like that. So I don't know what the answer is, guys, just so, I have to really sit together for a week with boxing people and figure how do we want to fix this to make it as honest and as fair as possible. And then also that each referee or each judge should have to be accountable when he scores a round. I scored this round for this guy because, and then when you sit down and watch it, that's the shot he landed. I like the way he moved there. I like the way he cut off the ring there. I like his ring generalship. I give him this. You have to be able to make your call. You can't just score and then not even attempt to say why you gave him the round. So show me show me and that's, I don't know what the.
Have you watched the fight back, or is it you were there? You're not going to watch it back because it's kind of a little bit.
I did.
Bad vibes. You watched it back.
Yeah.
Different on TV.
I'm sorry.
How different was it from being there compared to the shit? Because
when you already know the outcome, it's difficult to watch it. Look, to me, nothing changed for me and how I was feeling, including what I said in the corner of stay off the fucking ropes. I still believe that I said the right thing because I think that was important. I think anybody would have seen that. It wasn't a miracle instruction. You stay off the ropes was an important thing, and everything was right through 10. And when he made that call and I saw Adam get mad, and Adam doesn't usually get mad at things like that, but he was irate, you know, and this wasn't about being mad at me or being mad at anybody else. This was right on the moment. That was he knew right away that that was the wrong call to make, and and I heard him tell the referee, "You've just screwed us. You've just screwed us," you know, or something to that effect, right? You've hurt us in the scoring, which is why I added you need this round, you know, you need this round. I don't want to say, you know, I'm either say nothing, but I don't think I'm there just to say nothing. I think I have to bring some value to the corner. That's why you have me there, is to be able to say certain things and see things. And, you know, you need this round. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, when you tell a fighter that you need the round, doesn't mean that you scrap everything you know of what you're doing, you know, and you know, you suddenly not the fighter you are. You just like you needed the 11th and the 10th, and you need those rounds, you go out and win them. So, and I don't think that, I'm not sure that that Mick did anything different in the 11th than he had been doing in the fight. There were times he was exchanging with him on the inside. Adam was very vocal about that he was doing good when he was in the pocket, and on the inside, he wasn't getting hurt at that point. But the same kind of thing, the pattern happened where after an exchange, he kind of would go to the ropes for like a rest or whatever, like he felt comfortable going to the ropes. And, you know, he didn't get caught in any of the rounds before, even when I was saying stay off the ropes, you know, but that time he got caught. So, you know, after watching it myself, because I wanted to see if I saw something different on TV that I didn't see in the fight, or might have said something wrong that I didn't see. And, you know, after seeing the judges' cards and, you know, going back and watching it, you know, I think everything was done in the best interest of Mick to get him to win the fight. And because put it this way, if he goes out there and coasts the last round and then loses or gets a draw in the decision, you know, and then blames us for not being urgent enough in the corner, you know, without showing that passion, without putting that light and that fire under him to go get that last round, we'd be blamed for that. So I watched it back to see if I had done anything wrong. And
from my perspective, for whatever it's worth, I don't think you did. I don't think you did anything other than give the advice you expect from an expert cornerman without fluffing you.
And not saying, like, not necessarily like, I don't know, behind whatever. And like, it's just one example, but it's also tough. People, when you're not used to losing, getting a loss, there's always not like a scapegoat, but a reason that people like to try and find. Like we saw Lopez recently interviewed about the Cambosos loss, and apparently now it's some big conspiracy because they want Haney to get the belt. And it's just like, sometimes after a loss, the things that come out, it's, you know, it's just a bit like, oh, okay, take a second.
I've had this happen with fighters being in the glove business where, you know, they go the distance on a fight or a couple of fights, they go the distance wearing our gloves and then blame the gloves for them not knocking out somebody, you know. And
that's not surprising though, is it? That's like, I can understand that. They were like, oh, he's wearing Everlast, they got to be thinner or something. You know what I mean? It's just and then their hands are shattered afterwards, and you're like, this is why you want these ones.
Shattered or not, you know, Arthur Beterbiev has 100% knockout.
There you go.
In Rivals. Yeah.
Yeah. A bad tradesman blames his tools.
Yeah.
It doesn't Shushu wear Rivals as well.
Yes, he does.
Bruce Corrington, yeah. Like I think there's some people getting whacked in Rives. Yeah.
So did Christian Mbilli, and so did Mohammedi. You know, unfortunately, one got knocked out and one scored the knockout. You know, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's about being the fighter. And I always tell people, like, whenever somebody coined a phrase some time ago and said, "This is a puncher's glove." You don't need a puncher's glove, you know. If that means that the glove is not padded and there's no padding in the glove, you can call it that. But it's the fighter who's the puncher, because Beterbiev has crushed guys wearing big sparring gloves. You know, it doesn't matter when your brain shakes inside your head because of the impact. It's not just from the glove; it's the power that the human can generate. You know, and I've seen Adonis Stevenson hit guys as if they've been hit with a lead ball in sparring, you know, and they crumble. Their brain short circuits, even on a delay when by the time their brain computes, what the hell have I just been hit with, and then collapse, you know? So yeah, I don't believe in that. Whenever I hear someone say puncher's glove, you're looking for a glove that has no padding in it. That's what you want. You know, you want to have almost a bare knuckle fight, and that's the commission's responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Circling back to the judges, because I don't like boxing, especially now, you know, it's gaining popular, all that sort of stuff. The last thing you never want it at the best of times is a tragedy to happen. Accountability in judging for sure, but accountability in gloves also. There needs to be there needs to be accountability on this, because someone's going to get hurt in some of these substandard gloves. And it's, I mean, the writing's on the wall. Like, it's there to happen. Like, people's safety shouldn't just be like, for entertainment's sake. No, like, it's fair is fair.
There's nothing safe about boxing. So, you know,
so why make it worse?
That's right. The least you can do is have a glove that has, you know, a certain amount of predetermined padding that should be in a glove, you know, that it should be. But no commission wants to take the lead on this, and there doesn't seem to be a worldwide consensus on what should be done. We've grandfathered in certain gloves or construction of gloves, and once you've allowed that to happen, you can't now tell all the other people that are coming in who are making the gloves the same way and say, no, you can't, but this guy can, but you can. So believe me, I've struggled with that myself, not just as a trainer, but as a glove manufacturer as well. And, you know, it's the least we can do is have a glove that has padding in the glove, which is very important, you know, and, but it's up to the commissions to regulate that. And up to now, you know, the criteria for a commission is not clearly established. It's kind of like, you know, we make our decision as we feel, as we go along when we put the glove on. And the only criteria in the rule book is it has to weigh 8 ounces or 10 ounces. But
and clearly that's not even that thoroughly enforced.
No, well, that's right. That's right. We've seen where that's not thoroughly enforced.
Do they not weigh them? Yeah. They must weigh them, though.
Supposed to weigh them. They're supposed to weigh them, but they don't always weigh them. That's not true. They don't always weigh them, which is always crazy. How do you show up at a glove selection? And I'm baffled at this. You show up at the glove selection and there's not a scale there. Like, the first thing they should do is the scale should be there. So you weigh the glove. Yeah, it's good. Okay, that's good. Put it on. Yeah, it's good. I don't know if they do that behind the scenes or not, but I mean, that certainly should be done.
Also, a glove selection where you can use gloves that aren't at that selection. What was the point in the fucking glove selection?
Or that.
Yes, exactly.
We know about, you know, you're going to go back to that with Oscar Rivas and Dillian White. You know, that was just ridiculous in and of itself. And you, the commission, you know, it would be one thing for the opposing team to try to get away with something or get their hands into another set of gloves that they want, you know, or whatever. That's one thing. They're trying to cheat, but gamesmanship, if you will. But the commission should be the one there protecting you, saying, nah, yeah, that was yesterday. Oh, you want to change gloves? Let's do this all over again. Bring in the other camp. These are the gloves they want to use now. You agree? No, we don't agree. You got to use the gloves you selected yesterday. You know, but there's always all this cheating that goes on, which is terrible. And yeah, what I was trying to get to earlier with the commissions, and I've spoken to this with various people and members of commissions, is you cannot have a determination of the specs of a glove based on weight alone without having dimension. You have to have weight and dimension in order for it to fit. So, you know, there can be no larger than, no longer than, no shorter than, no shorter than that.
Yeah, no point of 10 ounces in the wrists.
Yeah, correct. So that's guys, I don't have the answers to all that. I know the problems that exist, but it's going to have to be the powers that be that start to enforce that, because otherwise it's just it's still the wild, wild west, and everyone's kind of doing whatever the hell they want. So, and there are people who submit gloves for testing, get them approved because they're approved worthy, But then when they show up at the fight, it's not the same glove. It's the same brand, but not the same glove. So,
yeah,
you know, it's
we've heard
crazy.
some stories. The wildest one was when like these RDX gloves started popping up, innit? Because RDX has always been like, you buy it at a store here called Argos, where you'd buy like one of those mini punch bags and 2 pairs of RDX gloves and some mitts, and like they've just popped up out of nowhere doing like pro gloves for all manner of peeps.
There's all kinds of brands popping up out of nowhere. So, but that's part of the free enterprise system. I'm certainly not opposed to them doing that. I'm opposed to companies popping up and stealing other companies' designs.
Yes.
That I'm opposed to, and I'm opposed to people stealing, you know, Grant's design, you know, because that's his, you know. I'm opposed to people stealing that, you know. I'm opposed to them stealing our look. I'm opposed to stealing their look, you know. I'm not just talking for myself. That bothers me a lot. You want to make a glove, no problem. You have your own branding, you have your own way of doing it, good. But the commission has to be responsible to say that the gloves have to fall into a certain norm. And in this day and age, there are so many avenues available to us to be able to test materials, you know, see how they hold up, you know, and say, okay, you can measure thickness, you can measure density, everything can be measured. So, but it takes work. But sometimes you get the feeling they don't want to work. It's easier just to pick the low-hanging fruit.
Even a post-fight investigation into the gloves, like just collect some data on what did the glove look like before the fight, what did it look like? Yeah,
I agree how they hold up, and some hold up better than others.
Of course they do. On a much more positive note, it's all over the news here that it looks like AJ and Usyk are going to rematch. Now, as someone, we was chatting about it last night, because for Usyk to do that, essentially for his country, is massive. And the pressure that would put on him is gargantuan, right? And then on the flip side to that, if AJ beats him, I don't think that many people are going to be warming to AJ. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like a no-win for him, and it's like it's a huge fight. That's probably one of the more magnitude heavy ones for a long, long time. Like even belts aside, like it is large.
I'm just, guys, forgive me, but I'm just going to have to just remain a little bit more pessimistic about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I mean, for all the good intentions that Usyk has, for the attention he could bring on the world stage to the crimes that are going on against the Ukrainian people, you know, in Ukraine, I think that's positive. But so many things could happen between now and June, and having this guy under the gargantuan pressure that you spoke of, Rob, be in training camp, in contact with friends, family, relatives who are still there, somebody who may die, you know, as a close acquaintance or friend, you know, this could change everything. Who knows what could happen as a result of this? This cannot be the best mindset, and I'm very, very concerned about this. I know he's a very strong-minded guy, but this might be, you know, this is a lot to ask of anybody. You know, when your country's going to war, your home, your property, your friends' home and property are being bombed. You know, maybe there are women being raped over there, but it's houses robbed. You know, no more belongings. This can't be good. I mean, it's all well and good to say, yeah, all set for June. Everyone's flying to Saudi Arabia like nothing's going on. And in the meantime, there are bombs decimating cities over there. And the Klitschko's are on social media as much as they can, showing the devastation that's going on. Can you see anything that's good of this? Like,
this was my point, is like, from, say the fight happens, and like you would, as a human, the pressure that would be on him, you would expect the best version ever or a compromised version. And AJ, AJ to beat a compromised version, there is no win in that one. Immediately, people will hate on him because British fans and our fighters are brutes. People love the hero. People love the smaller guy. All this other stuff. And like what you were saying for Alexander, is it the best time? You know, it's just, it's heavy, isn't it?
I legit, and we were saying, I was like, I will be amazed if this fight happens. 100% amazed. The only time I was like, because also all the news seemed to be coming from AJ, Eddie, and I was like, okay, I think they probably had another opponent in mind that's fallen through, and they want to keep the just kind of momentum rolling. When Usyk started saying, I was like, oh shit, like that's big. But at the same time, it's a long time between now and June, and if anything happens, it's just how. Of course, there's no better reason for this fight. It's just a fight. Like boxing is huge, but this is next level. This is real life shit that a lot of people aren't fortunate to have to endure.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good in any way. And we've gotten some emails. Well, I've gotten messages from people that I know in the Ukraine who I have met as being part of Team Usyk and Lomachenko. You know, my friendship has spread out to meeting other people while I was in the Ukraine. And we got an email from a lady who was a good customer of ours, buying boxing equipment, selling it in the Ukraine, had a store, the whole bit, they're selling stuff. And she has had to now flee Ukraine. She's in France, no money. You know, she went from being a successful businesswoman, no money, doesn't speak the language. She's a refugee in France, begging for help and telling us of the horrors that are going on and what the soldiers, these are not soldiers, these are criminals. You know, they're raping women, they're robbing from houses. You know, it's not nice, the things that are said. And somebody else sent me a text message almost expressing the exact same things. I would like to maybe read you part of what they said, if you permit me.
Yeah, go for it.
So let's see. My town near Kiev is totally destroyed and occupied by Russians. They killed 67 civilians on my street. The bomb hit my yard. The house is damaged. Car is destroyed. Many neighbors, including children, are killed. Women were raped by groups of Russian soldiers and then killed. It's hell right there.
Fucking hell.
So, you know,
I mean, but that on a big stage, you can, because like I've got a few Ukrainian neighbors in the legendary Rectory Court, and like obviously, you know, what do I know about the Ukraine? A few things, and then obviously Loma and Usyk, and like Loma they don't know, but Usyk they all know. Like Usyk's the man in Ukraine, right? Is that just because he's like and then
but he's in Kiev, right? He's in Kiev. He's in the capital. So, and he's the heavyweight champion of the world.
But like I can understand why they would want him to come out for the people, but I just don't think there's just no win in it. I don't know.
Nah, bro, this is bad. This is bad times. And the thing is, I'm trying to see of what could be a positive that comes out of this. And like Russia is now the most hated place on earth. You know, like that. How does that get better? You know, like what they would have to, even if they withdraw tomorrow, they've decimated a nation. You know, there's going to be, for centuries, there's going to be Ukrainians growing up and reading the history books and hating Russians. You know, it's not going to ever get, it's not going to get better. It's not all of a sudden, hey, oh, good now, you know, no problem. Like, we're not going to see that in our lifetime, fellas.
Yeah.
Well, that took a different bit of a note. So I just want to go back to saying that I was right about Lee, and he did win by stoppage. And yeah, when are you going to be back when are you going to be back in these neck of the woods? Because we'll take you to Pymash.
Are you in Manchester the week of the 16th?
I don't even know what Manchester is, mate. Like,
you know, that's the thing. Like, when you come to Canada and you say, I'm going to be in Canada, you could technically be in a 3-hour time difference and still be
I'm aware.
Canada, okay?
You got much more likelihood of me doing that than going to Manchester.
but in the UK, you are no matter where you are in the country, you are at most a 3-hour drive from wherever it is you're going to.
No. It's bigger than that. You want to go to like Devon or Cornwall or something? That's 5 hours in the car. That's misery. That I had to do that for my dad's birthday party. It was gross.
Okay, well, I'm not.
No, because they're not electric trains. They turn to diesel after about 25 minutes. You're like, what is this? Okay, well, Manchester. No. Next time more southern. We haven't really listened. We were supposed to get our act together in a big way and get like a few press passes and stuff and start like doing in-person bits. But honestly, we've just been so busy being famous. It's exhausting.
What is that? 125th in Jamaica.
167th in sports.
But in fairness, if I can make the travel across the pond, which takes me a lot longer to get there than it does for you to get from wherever you are in London to Manchester, I think it's a minimal thing to have.
That's right.
Minimal thing because I'll tell you what, I went to London from Manchester when Roy was in town with So if I could do that as a stranger, not even knowing where the hell I'm going, surely
mate, there's like dragons and elves up there, mate. You got to be careful. The second you leave the safety of London,
London,
that's where the wildlings live there.
Listen, I'll show you where I hang out in Manchester, and you'll be safe as safe can be, and you'll eat good as well. Believe me, I'll take you to place to eat. You're going to be fine.
I look forward to it.
When's that? April 16th?
The fight's the 16th, yeah, in Manchester.
We'll have a word with Jake. Jake can make that happen. In Jake we trust. Right. Yeah, I know. Well, I just try and be nice to Jake because I try to like bolster him up a little bit.
Okay.
He don't really do very much. It's nice to have like people to help out on the show, and they do bits. Like he bought me a coffee yesterday. Touch, yeah. Big respect, Russ. As always, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad. I wish it could have been under better circumstances. Talking about the Conlan fight, I'm gutted by it. It hurts when I hear things like what you said from Dave. I've got lots of respect for Dave. It's boxing. Unfortunately, it happens, and you don't want it to happen to your guy, and nobody wished that on anybody, and it is what it is. What are you gonna do? It's the fight game, and when you're in it for as long as I've been in it, things happen. Boxing is boxing, and decisions, and the one thing I'll say about that is, for whatever blame wants to be put to me, at the end of the day, I think it's a consensus from all those who know the sport that the ref made a bad call, and that changed. Even if you don't want to blame me, that changed the course of the fight of how it happened. That changed the momentum. That wasn't me saying you need the last round. That wasn't me doing anything. That was the ref making the bad call. And instead of blaming him, it's being deflected. And I think that's wrong. And that 100%. Should have been Caldwell or anybody's point. Should have been, that at the end of the day, that was the bad call that was made. And, the judges followed suit by scoring a 3-point round, and that changed the fight. So.
Also, too, just removing it one step, he fought a hell of a fight and got caught.
He really did.
It happens. I don't get this whole. If it had gone, he was doing fantastic. That was just oh shit. He's got this, and yes, okay, the ref for sure made it close, but still, you'd think he's got it. So, hey, sometimes people want to hate.
If the 12th round would have gone and Conlan wins the 12th like he was winning the 11th, right, and wins the 12th round, would Russ have been the hero and saying, "Good thing you told him you needed the last round for the win"? So would Caldwell have been saying,
I didn't bring
Sometimes
it up
people
to
don't want the praise. They want to hate, but they don't want to be singing the praises.
Yeah, it wasn't brought up to try and rustle you a little bit, but it was just for that exact reason, which is I just didn't get it. That's all it was. That's why I asked. Because I just
like I said, I didn't hear about it until you just said said that to me.
I feel bad that I brought it up.
We're for Mick, and you know, it's one of my favorite corners I work in is with Mick and the team around him. You know, I love being a part of that. I feel like I've contributed. You know, I feel important, and you know, I don't regret anything I said in the corner or any advice that I may have given, and I think I would do the same thing all over again. You know, I think I was right in what I was saying, and I was given the best I could, and that's what I'm there for, and that's all you can ask of somebody. You know, I think I'd rather be vocal and try and do my best than to be silent and let something happen and knowing I maybe could have done something about it.
100%.
Legend. Always an honor, mate. Thank you so much.
Bro,
thank you, sir.
Mate.
You guys. I'm the one who should be thanking you.
No, not till we hit the top 100 in Jamaica.
Okay.
Then we talk.
All right, sounds good.
All right, mate. See you later.
Take care.